Thank you, Mr. Natarajan. Thank you, Siddharth, Gita, and Mr. Jayashng. Actually, it's ironical in many ways that a book which is mainly on the Hindi heartland gets first translated in Tamil. But in many ways, actually, Chennai has been very indulgent towards this book. The first city which called me to speak on this book last year was Chennai. I was speaking to a group of women. It was some book club mostly run by women, and it was a kind of upper class crowd. But I was really struck by the way most of these women in the 60s and 70s have read the book and read it quite well, in fact. Many of them were sad that the world that they had seen and or the world that they got, Gita Press that they'd grown up with, this book in a way demolished it. But they were very indulgent despite that. And then Hindu published, in fact Hindu became one of the papers which had 2-3 articles on this book. And now I'm here. While Hindi is still kind of, Hindi publishers are still debating how to go about it. Mr. Natarajan called me last year and I was really surprised that why should Tamil publishing house be interested in it. And then my acquisitions editor in HarperCollins, he said no, they are very good pro-left anti-caste publishing house, we should go for it, and I blindly believed her and I went, and I must say I'm thankful to Mr. Natarajan for having beautifully produced it, 700 pages of this book. I hope people read it here. But part of, while going through, I've been talking to some of my friends who teach, who have been dealing with this whole issue of caste in South India, especially in Tamil Nadu, and have closely studied Periyar's movement and other similar subsequent movements which have happened here. You see the lot of resonance for this book in Tamil Nadu, especially in Chennai, could partly be also because while Periyar was creating a world which is counter narrative of against caste and everything, Podar and Gita Press, and mind you, Gita Press was not alone. There are various similar organizations which were doing similar work, Bharat Mahamandal and many others. But these guys had a spread across North Indian Hindu homes, even in South, it was coming through Kalyan Kalpataru. But and then they're resolute, they were so fully convinced on this issue of caste that they did not kind of move even an inch. Now what they have done is not, maybe they've stopped talking about it in such strong terms as they did then, but they keep on reprinting, say, Hindu Sanskriti Ank of 1950. They keep on reproducing Nari Ank of 1948 or Stri Dharm Prashnotri of 1926, which kind of has been a remarkable success. These volumes, they have been selling, they have sold lakhs and lakhs of copies since then, and mostly it's about the caste, securing this 4-Varna system, and refusing to engage with what is happening outside the social movement and everything, and rubbishing all of it by just saying that, listen, you were born like this, so there's very little we can do about it. You do a good karma in this life, and next life you will be born as upper caste. And this, it's not that it's not only the caste thing that we find that they were bothered about. Throughout South, in fact, we find in Podar's papers time and again that as South was creating a narrative of this temple entry, interdining, all these issues. They were very, very worried, and they were linking it to. In fact, I found references to Justice Party movement, which they were saying that what is happening here in the Justice Party movement and all is very bad, and how this is against the Hindu unity. And they had a very ambivalent idea of Hindu unity, which was that you talk of Hindu unity, but yet you say that Dalits cannot enter temple. And so this whole counter narrative that they were trying to create in North, was a lot of it was a reaction to what was happening in South. So they were talking about Justice Party movement. They were very worried about it. In fact, Justice Party, we see in a phase of less than 10 years, I'm talking about early 30s to maybe more than a decade, 40s, they were the publishing house which was meant for Bhakti, Gyan or Vairagya suddenly is talking more about communism, Justice Party, what is happening, this whole diminishing, this doing away with the caste system. They were very, very worried about it. So in that sense, I think South played a big role in creating this, in kind of forcing them to take note of this larger movements which were happening. But then they never changed their position on these issues on caste and other things. One of the, in fact, I think in the 1950s, they bankrolled and they printed thousands of copies of this book called Ram Raj and Communism, Ram Raj or Communist Bath, which the main logic was that this whole communism talks about doing away with caste, doing away with everything. So the better version of communism is Ram Raj. You know, it was done by Karpatri Maharaj. It's a voluminous work which strangely again is still getting published. And it is, I have been kind of, when the year I bought it, that year itself some 5,000 copies were published, something like Mr. Natarajan cannot think of doing of many of the volumes that he publishes. And it gets sold. And it's been getting reprinted every year. So there is this whole movement even now from Gita Press to deal with the issue of caste and refusing to acknowledge the changes that taken place. Even RSS, at least publicly, or even if their own organization are not undergone any change, is talking of, you know, samrasta, even if they are not talking of which is a very different version of equality, which is not equality at all, but they're talking of samrasta. But Gita Press and others have refused to engage with caste even now. Therefore, we find from South, at least in Tamil Nadu, C. Rajgopalachari was a great friend of Gita Press. In fact, time and again we find that Podar was corresponding with him. In fact, he kept on writing till late. Even when he set up this party, what was the party? Swarajya Party, yeah. So we find there was a great celebration in Gita Press that this is Swatantra Party, yeah. Swatantra Party. So there was this linkage with such groups, but more or less they can try to ignore, they try to kind of deal with it by saying that, you know, they never engage with it in a rational way, because the whole idea of Gita Press was to recreate or to go back to the classical Hindu past, which they thought was disrupted by the Muslim and the Christian rule. Otherwise, India was a great nation, everything was fine, we were at the peak of science, education, literature, you know, everything. So that position never changed in terms of, and therefore the caste, they engaged with caste their engagement with caste was basically perpetuating the caste system. Therefore, I find it, now what has happened actually in Gita Press, I've been talking to people is, they say that now we've started talking less about the caste. We talk less about the caste, which itself is a kind of acknowledgement that things are no longer the same, and we are not talking about it. Like every other issue, if you see Kalyan from 1926 onwards, they were constantly engaging, and the vicious attack they made against Ambedkar, for instance. Periyar doesn't get attacked much except for one or two places, but Ambedkar gets attacked viciously by them. And they will never call him Dr. Ambedkar. They will always prefix it with that Heen Varna Ambedkar. And when he married when he married a Brahmin lady, that made them even, you know, they got them even more kind of angry. That look at this now, he has married a Brahmin woman, and they blamed him for this Hindu court bill, which they thought was at the heart of, which will attack, which will completely destroy the caste system, because boys from any religion, any caste, anyone could marry our daughters. All kinds of food can be cooked in our homes, in our kitchen. Our girls will be violated. So, there's this whole kind of highly conservative Hindu supremacist approach towards that they wanted to create and that they created. Irony is that even now we find that much of the old literature, while the new literature is after Podar's death in 1971, new literature is kind of not talking about it much, but they keep reproducing these old works, especially on caste, on women, and it's sailing. So someone somewhere is getting influence. In fact, I found that even in Tamil, many of the literature is also coming in Tamil in a big way, and they have been doing it for many years. In fact, not only Tamil, in Malayalam, Gujarati, all other languages. So I'll not say that danger. What I'll say, these are the kind of the building blocks of the Hindu nationalist ideology. Gita Press played a crucial role. So they continue to remain strong, and now that we have a government here which completely believes in that ideology, which in a way, even if the government speaks in one voice, the people around it, people who are closely associated, continue to articulate that completely, the Hindu nationalist point of view. Organizations like Gita Press have become relevant again. I think they'll continue to gain prominence despite the WhatsApp messages and news that we keep hearing that Gita Press will close down. It will never close down. The strikes are part of Gita Press because they never pay to the employees, and this is the old story. They've never paid right from 1926 onwards, because they keep telling the employees that you're working for the greater Hindu cause, so there is no need to get that much salary. But times have changed, so but Gita Press continues, and I see them becoming more relevant. In fact, when election results came in May 2014, their first editorial, I think in June or July, this was really celebratory editorial. They said, now it has happened. After so many years we have worked and this has happened. And the agenda, and every election, mind you, before every election, it's only religious journal which before every election tells its voters whom to vote. And they will never name a party, but if you see when they tell the readers what are the issues they should look into, which party they want the readers to vote for. So I see them becoming more relevant. I hope this translation helps more people to know about them, and the very divisive at one level, a very pan-culture Hindu idea that they're trying to propagate is known to others, and it's not only that they're and one of the things I will say that when the book came out, a lot of people said that why do you have to write all this, because they have done great job publishing Ramayana, Mahabharata and various other religious texts except Vedas, of course, which itself is mysterious. They've never done Vedas because they said they never found a good translator. So Gita Press, the idea is that people should know that this press is not only about publishing religious texts. It is a political project since 1926. It has remained political throughout its life, and I think now it will become more relevant because the way it reaches ordinary Hindu homes, it's easy even for RSS or various other organizations to articulate their point of view, and through the vehicle of Kalyan to ordinary Hindu homes. And I think Tamil translation will help reach out to more people about the larger thing that Gita Press stands for. Thank you everyone.